Welcome to episode 35 of the Babes Talking Business podcast. Today in this episode, we have Stacey Hollands, the owner of Lust Minerals, a natural beauty product company which launched in 2014 and has grown to have 6 employees and over 220,000 Instagram followers. And this last financial year, having a staggering 438% growth on their previous year, all while having a toddler, being pregnant, having another baby, and now having a newborn as well. After many years of researching the effects of chemicals, fillers, parabens, and dyes in everyday products that we apply on our skin, it became really apparent that a lot of people weren't aware of the side effects, and this is what made Stacey so passionate about makeup and using chemical-free skincare. The original strategy they had to sell their product was through stockists, and they had a really awesome customer base, but they slowly realized that most retailers didn't really have the same drive as they did to promote their product. It was just another product on the shelf. So they explained taking things to their own level and into their own hands, capitalizing and growing their social media platforms, and decided to start selling directly to the public via their website and social media to grow brand awareness. We talk about some really interesting topics in regards to growing the business at this rate, and also what it's like behind the scenes for Stacey, being a mama and growing an incredible business online. You can check out all of Lust Minerals socials in the show notes below for you to connect with them, including their website and their Instagram handle. You can also check out our website at babestalkingbusiness.com, where we have loads of information, including our upcoming events we have coming up in 2020, including our Babes in Business Mastery Retreat in Bali. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this 3-day retreat. We did it last year and we're doing it again, and we cannot wait. We just also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, the Health Style Emporium, a 16-week online holistic program for women all around the world that educates, empowers, and inspires you to be the happiest, healthiest version of yourself without deprivation or diets or extreme exercising, because nobody likes that. The HSE has over 8,000 members worldwide, and if you want to look into your holistic health, including learning about toxins and nutrition and mindset, hormones, stress, your cycle, whatever you want to be working on, head over to www.thehse.net to find out more. So without further ado, we are so excited for you to hear this amazing episode from the lovely Stacey. Hi, welcome, Stace, to our episode. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
I know we're having a bit of a chat before we started recording, and there's so many things I want to delve into today. So for those who don't know, we've got you on the show talking about your business, Lust Minerals. Am I saying it right? It is Lust Minerals.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I've seen your beautiful makeup all over Instagram, so I'm excited to hear the story behind the brand as well.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited for people to hear where you came from and what you have built over the last 6 years, because it's just one of those beautiful stories of we had a really slow start, we weren't online, we were a physical business, we weren't having an e-commerce, and now you have just had over 400% growth, which is just incredible. Over 220,000 followers on Instagram. We just got to get chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So if we backtrack, I know you're working as a beauty therapist.
Yeah.
You had 13 years experience working in that field.
Yeah, yeah.
What inspired you to start your business, or where did the vision for Lust Minerals come from for you?
I suppose going right back is when, Dad came ill with cancer. Mm-hmm. And back then I was all about, I wanted to make people feel beautiful, but it was using chemicals, and I wasn't aware of the effects that they had on people. When Dad became ill with cancer, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? How do I treat this? How am I going to help him? This isn't happening to me. And, and that's when I became really aware of how toxic they can become. And our skin's our largest organ, and females, as girls, we put makeup on every single day. So we're coating our skins in body moisturizers and makeup, which is full of chemicals.
Yeah.
So I just wanted something. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find something that's natural, that still offers amazing coverage. Because back then, like, mineral was around. It was expensive though, and the coverage wasn't there. Well, people didn't think it was there. So yeah, and it's just like 2.5 years later, it kind of just happened.
So did you you were looking to find something that you could recommend and obviously use with clients that wasn't going to affect and sabotage their health?
Yeah.
Did you find something? Is that when you kind of noticed there was a gap in the market and you wanted to create that?
Yeah, there was both. Like, I found a brand, but it was $89 for a foundation. And I myself suffered with breakouts, acne. I used the pill to fix that, which I wish I didn't, but I did back then. And so, like, the younger girls would come in and I would treat them with chemicals, but they couldn't afford the mineral makeup that I was trying to retail to them. So then they were going and using conventional makeup, which is 1/4 of the price, but it was just making it worse. And it's like, I'm trying to help you, but it's not helping. And at the end of the day, like, I probably couldn't afford $90 on one foundation at that time either. So how can I expect someone else to?
Totally.
So,
actually, I remember, like, and I think I know which brand you're talking about. I remember, like, my mum, she's in the same industry as you, and I was the same, suffered with acne, and it was the mineral powder that I needed to get, but it was just so expensive. I wish I had access to a product like yours back then, because I know I would have had a different journey with my skin all through, like,
and I would have too. So,
but there's there must be a certain type of person, because there's a lot of people who, like, oh, they wish they had something that doesn't exist. Not many people go, well, I'm going to go create it. Did you have the intention? Like, have you always wanted to start a business, or
Definitely, I'm not someone to work for someone, and I knew from the beginning, like, I'm one of those people, some people find it funny, some people don't. I envision myself and I get myself there. So I never wanted to work for someone. Like, I knew I wasn't going to work 9 to 5. That wasn't for me. I was someone who wanted to work hard but then go to the beach and, like, have a life. And it wasn't until Dad was really sick, and he was still working because he's a worker. And I said to him, I'm like, Dad, you should have been traveling 10 years ago. Like, you know, you don't have much time and you're still working. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm going to work my ass off, but I'm not going to work 6 days until I'm 60. Like,
you're talking our language.
That's why I love this podcast, because I want people to kind of think a little bit bigger. Like, yes, this is about business, but it's also about lifestyle and value, and living a life in accordance with your values, because life is so freaking short, and so many of us spending it. We spend most of our time working. If you're not doing something that you love, and you're working to live. Wait, living to work or work to live? The other way around.
We know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? There's just so much more life to work. So I think why I'm passionate about business is actually helping women create a vehicle that allows them to live life and enjoy it.
And it can happen. Like, I was just, how old was I? Like, looking back then, I think I was 21 when Dad was sick, and that's when I started like, researching. And I think I was 24, 25 when I launched it. But I had this client who I really looked up to, and she's like, I was telling her about it and I didn't tell many people, and she's like, what have you got to lose? And I was like, I needed to hear that. And I remember this day, and that's why
let's go from, so idea popped up. How do you go from, okay, I want to create an cost-effective product where there's a gap in the market, to actually going and like, how did that transition happen?
I just reached out to manufacturers and communicated to them, and obviously then I done a lot of research on ingredients I didn't want. So I was like, I want high performance, but I don't want all this. And so that's where because I'm not a cosmetic chemist, so that's where their job came in, and like, great, we can do this. And so we were just lots of backwards and forth and trying products. And I had my own makeup artist business at the time as well, so I had the opportunity to try it on my brides and see how it was working, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
That's amazing. So you then began your business, Lust Minerals Cosmetics, where you had a physical product, and you actually had, like, a retail store, like you had a physical store in the beginning?
Not at the beginning, no. I got it into salons.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So stockists. So we wholesaled it to salons, and they obviously on-sold it then. So we did stockists for a good 2.5 years.
And what was that like? What was that experience like?
It was like, I was in the industry, so I felt comfortable doing that, because reps would come around to me all the time trying to sell me stuff. So I was kind of in the reverse position. And I really enjoyed it, but it was slow, and we limited ourselves. And obviously I was so, and I still am so passionate about getting the brand out there and making awareness of this. So I was like, this is limiting me. Like, what else can I do to make it bigger and better? And I suppose that's where Instagram comes in, and social media, which has really helped us to grow. And then we've put it online. So we weren't online in the beginning. We were just in stockists. So
I think it's cool he's listening to this because obviously everyone might have a different idea or they might be in business themselves. But like when you've created a product, then you're working in the industry and you're then selling it to people in the stockists, like you're sharing it.
Yeah.
How long was that journey? Like, was a full-time income overnight? Did it take a few years?
No.
Like, what's the reality of the story behind it?
So I give credit to James for that because he was in engineering working for Main Roads. So he had a really good job. So I also worked from home by then. By this stage when Dad was sick, I left my job because I was like, I need to spend more time with him. I started up my own home salon, did brides. So that gave me a lot of time because obviously I wasn't 9 to 5 working from home. So that gave me a lot of time to do the research. So James probably, like, yes, I was earning my wage, but I did spend a lot of time researching. So James was like, the backbone of us. And we just bought our house. So there's a lot of pressure from the beginning. And a lot of times I was like, no, I just can't do this. I'm just going to stop. But then I was like, no, like, I want to do this. So
how long was that journey before you kind of got that lift off that you're looking for?
A good 2 years probably.
Yeah. And in the meantime, juggling a job, a hubby, a house. Yeah. Have you had a kid yet?
No.
That's like a child though.
And I feel like it's in those first 2-3 years that most people quit. Even though they have an amazing idea and there might be a gap in the market, they've got their work ethic, they've actually got everything they need to be successful, but it's just that long-term vision. In those first 2 years, when you were doing all the work and you were in the trenches, did you ever want to quit? Did you ever think this isn't going to work? This isn't for me?
I always had that in my mind, but then deep down I was like, no, like I wasn't a quitter. And I had so much like motivation. And I suppose Dad was that. I was like, I'm going to make him proud. Like he was here for 2.5 years because we did the natural side of things. So that's why I like knew that it worked. So I suppose that was my like passion. And because he left us in 2014 just before we launched, I always had him there like, no, I'm not quitting, like I've got to make this point here. And so it was hard, but we made it work. And I think not having kids helped because
and then let's talk about children because you have 2 beautiful little cherubs. So I'd love for you to speak into juggling a business with kids because I know a lot of mamas listen to our podcast and, I talk to a lot of mums who feel like success and being a present mother has to be exclusive. Like they think it has to be one or the other. But I really believe you can do both and you're a perfect example of that. So talk us through that. Like, let's just start from the beginning. How did business look when you had your first little one?
So when I had Tommy, it was still slower. Like Mum would come over when he was awake and spend time with him, and when he was asleep I would work. And I just had that balance that I had. And I did have another girl working for me who was amazing, and I suppose we just supported each other, and I could handle it then with one. Like I made it work. And then when 2 came along, it was like, oh my God, what have I done? It is amazing, but it is hard. It is really hard. So, but if you've got the motivation, you can do anything. And it's funny, I've got some friends that are like, oh, I've got to do the washing and I've got to, do this. And I was like, honey, like I'm working and I've got to do all of that. Like you can do this. Like I think it's your mindset because, if a good example is a few mums have said, oh, like I'm getting no sleep, like I'm so tired. I'm like, oh, how many times does Bub wake up? They're like, oh, 1 or 2. And I'm like, Sophia's 8 months and she's waking up 3 or 4 times, and I'm like working and like, but I don't tell myself I'm tired. I just know I've got to work. I've got a passion, and so I suppose it's how you handle yourself and where you put yourself, and
I think it's good listening to that. You can tell you're so passionate about what you do as well, and I don't know, from every speaker that we've kind of had, I think what gives you that endurance or that stamina in business is it being so much bigger than you, and you can tell that it started from being like, you know what, like life is short. I want to create a vehicle that I can have more time with my family, but even more than that, I want to help girls still feel pretty, but not at the expense of their health as well. Would you agree that just having a bigger vision and being so passionate about that helps you show up on maybe the hard days?
Oh, definitely. I think what I truly love is when people message us. Like they take the time out of the day and they're like, oh my God, you have made a difference. Like, And I almost get teary. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what drives me, like reading those messages. And I do get on DMs, like I do have the girls who are on there because obviously I can't do everything, but I do try and get on there, and I do try and do a little bit of customer service because it's good for me to see what people are asking and wanting. And at the same time, I get to see those messages and I get to see how we really are helping their skin.
Yeah.
And that's just what drives me.
I think what's really awesome is Simon Sinek's Start With Why, which I feel like, I'm not sure if you've listened to it or read it, but essentially he talks about how using your why as your driver.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like you have so much clarity around your why. Like you're very passionate about your mission.
Yeah.
And it stems from your dad's journey.
Yeah.
And then that then feeds on into like what you want to create for other people. And that's what gets you up in the morning, and that's what keeps you going. And I feel like a lot of people do quit in those first 2 years because they may not know what their why is, or they haven't gone deep enough to find it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've taken away from what you just shared.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'd love to like switch gears a little bit and actually talk about the nuts and bolts of business.
Yeah,
because I think, I don't know, maybe I'm putting my own beliefs on this, but from my experience working with women, as soon as they've got to put skin in the game, and like they would come to a point in their journey where it's like, all right, you've got to invest here, you've got to employ someone, they've actually got to put their money where their mouth is. Like, oh, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
Starting a business, was there risk? Was there investment that you had to put in at the start?
Yeah. There was always risk. Like, I'm thinking, who's going to buy my makeup? Like, I'm just Stacey. Like, I'm not famous. Like, they're just going to be like, oh, yeah. But I suppose I really put time into customer service and knowing, like, coming back to knowing why we're here and like what our passion is, and knowing like where we want to be at the end. So
was it a big financial investment starting off, or did you get to kind of start small and reinvest as it started to build?
That's pretty much, like, I didn't draw a wage out from last until probably the last 6 months. That's being really honest.
Yeah, and that's what we want that.
So what we did, my husband has, I mentioned to you girls, he has a outdoor power equipment shop. Long story short, Dad had one, my brothers bought it off him, so it's in like the family business, and we set up another one that James is in partnership with, and James ran that one, and he's been there up until about 2 months ago, and so we just lived off his wage, and I did the books for that. So on a Sunday, like I don't really ever have a day off until the last couple of months. Sunday was my mower's day where I had time with the family, but I still did all the books and the pays for the mower shop. And that was, we lived off that up until now. Like my success, our personal success, like our house and everything we have, is from us working our butts off. Like we weren't given it on a plate. And so, up until then, up until we got a manager into the mower shop, we lived off that wage. And now Luster's officially paying us to work 24 hours a day. But I reinvested all of that. Like I could have paid myself however much I wanted and done whatever I wanted, but I was reinvesting that into packaging and staff and giving back to everybody else and putting everyone else first. When I say that, I'm like, oh. No,
I love that you said that, because that's the raw stuff that people need to hear. Because when they're starting a business, if they're not making a wage in the first few months, like, this isn't going to work. This isn't working. Rather than having that, like, you started in 2014, 2019 now, it's 5-6 years of you working hard and investing everything that you made back into that. Like, there's not many people who people don't realize to have that success or to have that long-term vision, the actual sacrifice it does take. It doesn't happen overnight. Maybe the money doesn't happen there, or the impact doesn't happen there. I know you said the last probably 2 years when you hit lift off with the presence of social media.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that something that you kind of knew and navigated yourself, or was that with employing people who knew how to do that?
So I wish I employed like a mentor 2 years ago. We just stumbled our way through, like lots of learning and learning from brands and reaching out to brands and being vulnerable in that stage, but just learning along the way. And we've got a coach now that James is on full time and we have the time. We do have a business coach as of the last couple of months, and it is the best thing we've ever done. And I do wish I did it 2 years ago. But in saying that, like, I mean, 2 years growth, like our growth has been insane. So it's not that we were doing anything wrong, but having a mentor, like if you are starting out a business, I highly recommend investing in that, because that's what's going to help you get there and support you a little bit more than
But I
Yeah.
love that for the first 4 years, or for the first 5 years, you didn't have a coach. And I think what's really important to highlight here is that when you start a business, a traditional business, it is actually about a 7-year journey before you can pull a profit from it. Like a lot of people forget that. I think entrepreneurship is so glorified, and people are like 4 or 5 years in and they're like, I'm still not drawing a wage, but that's normality.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, a business coach just isn't feasible at that point in your business. Like it just doesn't make sense for you to spend money on that.
Well, it didn't for us.
But it just goes to show that the first few years that you didn't have a coach, you were still able to teach yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I love watching YouTube videos. I am like self-taught in everything that I do. I still won't have a coach because I'm just such a tight ass.
I pay someone, I can just YouTube it. Like, everything he needs for free online.
So true. Which is so true.
Yeah, I'm all about YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think what's really great with what you've shared is that, yes, it took time, it took effort. You were working another job, like you were juggling a lot. You didn't have a coach. You taught yourself everything. Yeah. And then you were able to see how you could grow even bigger by having an e-commerce store set up rather than just being as a stockist. And that is just what business is about. It's about navigating your way and stumbling. Making lots of mistakes.
Stumbling. What do you think's been your biggest lesson throughout those stumbles?
I think, not that it's the biggest lesson, but I think, I wish I did have a little bit more guidance maybe. But in saying that, like, everything's happened for a reason. And I think I did envision this happening, like James getting a manager and stuff by the time Sophia came along. And she's 8 months, so it did take 6 months, but we still got there. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest lesson is just reach out. Like, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help and make a plan, and just people love helping. Like if someone reaches out to me, I would love to help them. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a young girl that reached out with a beauty business. I think she's doing jewelry, and she's like, oh my God, thank you for replying. I'm like, honey, I'm here to help you. Like, of course, I'd love to help anyone start a business. And although that's not my passion, but I just feel like not everyone has to work 9 to 5. And if it's not for you, like, make it happen.
Yeah. I love working in the online space for the last few years, because I think before I did work online, I just thought it was a scary place. Everyone's there to serve themselves. But actually, if you connect and you reach out and start a conversation with a random, people are so friendly online, and they actually want to help. They want to know what you're up to. And I feel like everyone's kind of looking for that connection in that community. So, I love that you kind of just shared that. Like, when people reach out, people aren't these scary things. I actually love hearing from people. They want to know what your story is. Like, we're all just humans. Doing the best we can.
Helping each other. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared today, because I feel like it's such a beautiful story of, like, you can do this, like, for anyone listening to this, whether you're in the car or you're listening on your workout, like, it can be done. And you're just a beautiful example of that it takes work, it takes commitment. Yes, you have to have a little bit of strategic imbalance in your life and juggle 100 things at once, and then throw kids into the mix, and you've got a nice little formula there. But I think it just goes to show that it just takes dedication and commitment and persistence, and you'll get there. And
definitely
what you've created is pretty cool.
I've got one last question to end the episode on.
Okay.
We've spoken a lot about, like, what it took and what the process and journey has been. But what's your vision from here, and what are the payoffs? Like, has it been worth it? And, like, what do you now get to do that maybe you wouldn't have been able to without your business?
Yeah, 100%. I suppose having James on board, it's only been 2 months, but it's been the biggest reward, because I have stepped back a little bit. Yes, I'm still working every day, but I get to work from home with Sophia, which is so much nicer for her. And I think just having time for the family, like, we've just made a decision while we're up here for a couple of nights, like, every Friday we're going to alternate a day to ourselves. So, like, nice. James will have a day, then I will. And there's still a lot of work to be done. Like, you know, we can't just cut back now and try and, you know, retire, but we do realize that we do need to spend time on ourselves, because, you know, we can't pour from an empty cup. So
I love that. That's so important. Even like date nights as well.
Definitely.
It's so important to chuck in there.
Yeah.
On a funny note, it was so funny when Stacey arrived. Shannon and I were sitting here sunbaking, and, like, that's the joys of having your own business. It's like, we spent an extra hour filling up our cup this morning that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I had a JOB.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm all about filling that cup.
Filling up that can too. Thank you so much for jumping on, honey. It's been so good soaking up your light. You've got such a beautiful soul, and I cannot wait to see what the next 10 years has in store for you and your brand.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was so nice.
We hope you loved today's episode of the Babes Talking Business podcast. We're loving bringing you these episodes. Our mission really is to share and add value to your week, whether you're a budding entrepreneur or you're a veteran and you've been owning your own business for quite some time. Don't forget, if you're loving our podcast, we would absolutely love and appreciate for you to rate us and drop in some love on the iTunes app by giving us some feedback. We want to do something really exciting, and we want to do a shout out of the week every week on our Instagram for anyone who reviews us. So please make sure you leave us 5 sparkly stars and you give us your feedback, but don't forget to add your Instagram handle or website so that we can shout you out. You can follow us on Instagram at Babes Talking Business, or you can check out our website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com. You can check out the Health Style Emporium online holistic health program, our beautiful sponsors over at www.thehsc.net. All of these links are available below in our podcast notes and on our website. Thanks for tuning in.